Okay, so good evening, everybody. Welcome to the second day of number theory in this camp. Today, we'll be doing an interesting topic called the GCD and LCM of integers. So let's move on. So first, let me introduce you guys to GCD and LCM. Okay. So firstly, GCD is also known as the greatest common divisor. So when you are told that greatest common divisor, so when you are taking the English meaning, so if you take English meaning of all three words, so greatest, so it is some greatest number with a condition, greatest common divisor. So there is some biggest number which is common, and it is the common divisor of two numbers or three numbers or more. So when we say greatest common divisor, we mean that we want to find the biggest divisor, which is common between a set of n numbers, where n is a positive, a natural number. Okay. This is what the English meaning of the greatest common divisor is, and that is exactly what the mathematical meaning also is. So we say, like we denote it in mathematical form. No, we don't write it as greatest common divisor. We have a short form for that, and that is denoted as GCD of some numbers. That's why I have put dots there. Okay, and when we say to find the GCD of two integers, we will start from the beginning. It means to find the biggest integer such that it's a factor of both those integers. So we want to find the biggest integer, which is a factor of both those integers. That's what I mean by a divisor. A divisor is also similar to a factor. Okay, let's take an example. Here's a simple example. Greatest common divisor or GCD of 12 and 16 is nothing but 4. Why? Because when you are like breaking 12, how can you break 12? 2 into 2 into 3. You decompose it into its prime factors, and even 16 similarly when we do it, you find 2 into 2 into 3 and 2 into 2 into 2 into 2. So it's 2 square times 3 and 2 power 4 times, 2 power 4, that's it. Now you want to find the biggest divisor, which is common between 2 square times 3 and 2 power 4. So obviously when you look at it, you can see it is going to be 2 square, which is nothing but 4. So this is a method for finding GCD of two numbers. It is the most basic way of doing. So now let's move on to LCM. LCM is also known as the least common multiple. It is denoted by LCM of something. So when we say find the LCM of two integers, when we are told to find the LCM of two integers, it means to find the least integer such that it's divisible by both those integers. So again, we'll move on to the English meaning. So again, least. So you want to find the smallest common. So something common between 2 or 3, or anything. Then multiple. So you want to find the least common multiple, which means that you want to find the smallest multiple which is common between two numbers. For example, here's another example. LCM of 12 and 16 is 48. Why is that? This time we will not decompose. So this time what I'm going to do is, I'm going to see the least common multiple of 12 and 16. So I think all of you know how to find the LCM of two integers. I think we are taught that in 4th or 5th. So I don't have to go for that method. I think so. I just tell you what this means. So this means that you want to find the least common multiple of 12 and 16. So as we can see, 48 is the least common multiple. Why is that? Least common multiple of 12 and 16. Why is that? Because 48 is the smallest number that is a multiple of what? 12 and 16. So in GCD LCM, their English and mathematical meaning both are same. You can just take it like that. Okay. So I think you have a good hold on GCD LCM. And I just want to note you about one more thing. When you are writing competitive examinations, okay, then this word GCD will come. And also I think that some of you will know that this GCD is similar to HCF, which we are taught in school as well. HCF is nothing but the highest common factor, the greatest common divisor and highest common factor. Both have the same English and mathematical meaning. So HCF is what we are taught in school, and GCD is what we will be doing in Olympiads. But LCM will remain the same for both Olympiads and school. Okay, so this is, I think you have a good hold on these two definitions. Okay, so let's move on. Here are a few properties of GCD and LCM. The first property is that for any integers a and b, the greatest common divisor is a positive integer. Let it be a equal to -2, b is equal to 4, or a equal to 2, b equals 4. GCD of -2 and 4 is equal to 2, and GCD of 2 and 4 is also equal to 2. So the negative part is not counted. But otherwise, what will happen? GCD will not remain fixed. You understand? Because see, if GCD of -2 and 4 is equal to -2, then we can also tell that GCD of 2 and 4 is -2. Why? Can somebody tell why? Let me tell why. GCD of GCD of 2 and 4 is nothing but GCD of -2 and 4. So then what we did, we can take -2 outright. Like, yeah, we can do that. So it means the GCD of 2 and 4 is 2 and -2. So it has multiple answers. So that is why we have restricted it to only one answer. So for that restriction only, we have defined that GCE of two numbers is always positive. If you want to know why GCD of two numbers is not negative, I mean, I don't know that. I don't have an answer for that. If you are really interested in these kind of definition answers, you can refer to Wikipedia or other encyclopedias. Okay, so that's the first one. And the second one is the LCM of two integers is also greater than 1. It has similar reasons, and for more details, you can visit Wikipedia or other encyclopedias. Okay. The third property is a very nice property. Let's see who can prove the third property. Okay. Let's see who can prove the third property. The greatest common divisor of two numbers times the least common multiple of two numbers is equal to the product of their numbers. This will take some time to prove it. Like, yes, you can try this if you want. So if you want, yes, I think some answers are coming. Yes, Tanmay, you have an answer?
Yes. I don't know if this answer is valid or not, but
No problem. No, it is an interacting camp only, so you can give your answer.
yes. So LCM of two numbers is basically the greatest common divisor multiplied by the uncommon factors of those two numbers.
Okay.
And GCD of two numbers is its GCD.
Okay.
Okay, if we take the GCD of if we multiply AB, then we basically multiply the square of their GCD by the uncommon factors of both of them.
Okay.
And we are doing same on the LHS.
That answer is again. That answer is like not very rigorous. It seems intuitional, but like we need to do it in a little rigorous form. Your answer might be correct, but it is not rigorous. So if you have like, can you just decompose A and B in forms of crimes, and can you just type a message and send it?
Okay.
Yes, sure. Yes. So Samyak, yes, Samyak, I'm unmuting you. Yes, you can unmute yourself. Yes, Samyak.
Yes. Now let's assume that A is equal to P1 power N1, P2 power N2, P3 power Nd, and so on, where P is a prime and N is a natural number.
Okay, fine. Yes.
And we assume that B is equal to P1 power N1 dash, P2 power N2 dash, and so on. Now
Okay.
let's assume that P1 power and P2 power N2, P3 power N3 is equal to P1 dash power N2 dash, P2 dash power P2 dash. Sorry, I'm speaking
I'm
it, so there
lost.
is a confusion. So
I don't know. I cannot
P1,
understand what
P2,
you are
and P3
telling.
terms of both the primes is
Can you do
equal.
one thing? Can you type a message and send it? I'm lost somewhere. I cannot understand. Can you just type a short message and send it? It will be better if you can do that.
See, your voice is coming, Imran.
Hello, can you hear me now? Hello. So can you hear
Hello?
me now? Yes, can you hear me? Okay, I think there is a
Yes,
problem
I
on
can
your
hear you now.
side. I think so because other people are telling they can hear me. They are messaging. Yes, yes. So can you just type the message in the chat because I am lost somewhere.
Okay, I'll chat it to
Yes, yes, yes. Sure, sure. So I think I'll be taking first answers of Tanmay and Samyak. So if they type their answer. Okay, Krishna. Yes, you have an answer.
Yeah, I
Yes.
have an answer. I have actually divided this question into three parts. Okay, so the first part is if A and B are primes, then their GCD would be 1 and their LCM would be A into B.
Very good.
Okay, so the first case is proved. Then second of my case is that where A is the GCD of A and B, means
Okay.
B is the multiple of A.
Correct.
So in that case also we can prove it easily.
Correct. Correct.
And in the third case, I have taken it as if A and B have some GCD, which is P.
Okay.
Sorry,
Okay.
yeah, P. So if I am writing A as P square into Q square, and B, suppose I am taking,
P square. What if P is not a perfect square?
yeah, no. A may not be a perfect square. Just I am taking some numbers. Okay, you can take P or Q and something like that. Because
Okay, then I will take A equal to P into A1, B equal to P into A2. Is that okay?
yeah, it would be okay.
Okay,
So
good, good.
both
Continue,
of
continue.
the GCD
You're on
would
the
be,
right track. You're on the right track. Yes, yes.
then both of the GCD would be P, right?
Correct, correct.
P multiplied by, and their LCM would be A1 into A2.
A1 into A2 or A1 into A2 into P.
Yeah, that, sorry.
Correct, correct, correct. Yes. Continue, continue.
And so third case is also proved, okay?
Wait.
So
How is the third case proved? So GCD of A and B is P. LCM of AB is P into A1 into A2. So how is the third case proved? Can
actually
you
see,
explain it
Imran,
fully? Explain it fully.
yeah. Okay, just the third case, okay, I will prove it. So I am writing it P into A1 into A2 into P, right?
Correct, correct.
Okay, so I can just make group as P1 into A1 and P into A2, and that is just not A and B when I am multiplying them.
Awesome. Cool. Very good, very good. So Krishna has given the easiest answer. Well done. Congratulations for proving the third property. So I would suggest you to find easy proofs. Okay. Krishna has given the easiest proofs. Congratulations once again. Okay. Now we'll move on to the fourth problem. We'll see who is trying to prove the fourth problem. Can you hear me clearly? Yes. Okay. I think Aditya, Abhijit, I think there's a problem on your side. That's why it might be breaking. It may break for in your side. It will be on your end. Okay. Yes, Tanmay, you have an answer?
Yes. So let A1 be Q multiplied by X1, A2 be Q multiplied by X2, and so on until A and B Q multiplied by Xn,
Wait,
where
1 minute. What are you trying to prove?
fourth property.
Okay, wait. I haven't completed. I haven't stated this yet. Let me state
Okay.
it, then you can prove it.
Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. Skanda, are you trying to prove fourth property? Okay. Yes. So fourth property states that let GCD of A1, A2, etc. till A and be Q. Okay. Then the greatest common divisor of A1 over Q, A2 over Q, etc. till A and over Q is equal to 1. Yes. Now Tanmay, I think I have to unmute Tanmay first because he's the one. Yes.
Yes. So let A1 be Q multiplied by X1, A2 be Q multiplied by X2, and so on until A and B Q multiplied by Xn.
Okay.
Then, as the greatest common divisor of A1, A2 up to An is Q, therefore X1, X2 up till Xn are all co-prime,
Correct.
have GCD 1.
Yes.
And X1 is A1 divided by Q, X2 is A2 divided by Q, up till An, where an is xn is an divided by q. As
Yes.
GCD of x1 up to xn is 1, therefore GCD of a1 by q, comma a2 by q up till n by q is 1.
Correct. Correct. Very good. So Tanmay has given the correct answer for problem number 4. Okay. So and Samyak A1 equal to Qn1. See, Samyak, don't try to use concepts like PHP. Those concepts you must use in the combinatorics class, not in number theory class. So I think we are doing GCD LCM now. So we will be using only GCD LCM or divisibility. Krishna, you are asking a question like, can you please explain fourth property again? If you can tell me where you cannot understand in the fourth property, there only I can explain. Like, where are you not able to understand? What part? So this question is also a kind of an invalid question. Okay, you mean fourth property, proof or fourth property itself? What does that no mean? Okay, I think I'll move on. Yes, I think I should move on. So, okay, fine. Let me unmute you for a minute. Give me a second. Yes, you're unmuted.
Actually, Imran, I wanted to ask that here A1 upon Q, that no, comma A2 upon Q.
Yes.
So what if all these numbers are prime? Then their GCD would always be 1. And if prime upon 1 would...
Wait. See, we have assumed that their GCD is Q. If Q is equal to 1, then also, see, if Q is equal to 1, directly you will get the result as 1. If Q is equal to 2, then all of them must be multiples of 2. So that's why I said, think before you ask a question. Okay? So think it again. I think I've told you many times. Like, don't like ask these kind of things. What is a special case? I don't understand. Okay. Okay, the fifth property is a very famous theorem. It's called the Bezot's theorem. The Bezot's theorem is a very important technique in solving Diophantine equations, which we will cover not in this camp, but we will be covering Diophantine equations in our regular IMOB number theory course that we'll be taking. And the Bezos theorem has helped to solve many Olympiad level problems. Yes, okay. Nikhil, I think that it can be minus or plus. It doesn't matter because if I have in place of y, if I put minus y, then what will happen? Yeah, no problem. Fifth, it states that if for positive integers a and b, we have GCD of a comma b equal to 1. Actually, no need positive. Just take it as integers, okay? Let me take this out. If you are writing it in your notebook or you are reading it something, you can just consider this as integers. Okay. If for integers a and b, we have GCD of a comma b is 1. Then there exists integers a and y, I mean x and y, such that ax minus by equal to 1. Okay, this is a very nice property. This is called the Bezot's theorem, and this is a nice theorem for solving problems. Okay. No, I don't think we'll be doing the Euclidean algorithm for finding GCD, but I think we can do a few problems. So the Euclidean algorithm for GCD is an algorithm, but we will not do that now because we'll have to do a few problems now. Okay, I think. Does anybody have doubts in these 5 properties? If you mean a doubt, it must be a valid question, not like please repeat this part from I didn't understand property 2 to property 5. We won't be able to take that as an like into account. If you have a doubt, like say if you have some doubt like why is this true, all these doubts also you don't have to ask, because you know the fifth, I cannot prove the fifth one. There is a paper on this Bezos theorem. Okay, see, you have just asked now what is the proof of Bezos theorem. So we cannot prove this Bezos theorem. That is why it's called Bezos theorem. Otherwise, it will be just see these 4 properties. No, they are not counted as a theorem or anything. These are just some random properties. But the fifth one, it's a theorem more than a property. So for proving Bezos theorem, you can go to Wikipedia and look. It uses some amount of, I think it uses some amount of modular arithmetic and lots of other concepts, which we will not do in this camp. Okay, I think you are all okay with these 5 properties, and I hope you don't have any doubts. Okay, so I think I'll move on. There's a problem set which I would like to share, and okay, so this is the first problem. Find the smallest positive integer n such that the 73 fractions 19 over n plus 21, 20 over n plus 22, etc. till 91 over n plus 93 are all irreducible. If you are if you're a math Olympiad lover, then you must have this book called or Math Olympiad Challenges by Tito and Trescu, and this particular problem is there in that book. This is the first problem. The second problem is going to be let m and n be natural numbers. Prove that if m and n, m times n divides m square plus n square, then m is equal to n. These problems, I mean, the first problem came in some Olympiad. Second problem also came in some Olympiad. The third problem, let ik be k factorial plus 1. Prove that GCD of in, in plus 1 is always 1 for all n belong to n, I mean natural numbers. Okay, so these are the 3 problems. If you have doubts in these questions, I can answer. Like, wait just a minute. Skanda, you have a doubt? Yes, Skanda. Hello, Skanda. I think you are using some earphone or headset. So I put the microphone near you so that we can hear. I cannot hear you. Like your voice is audible, but it is not loud. I think you can type it in the chat. So I said that if you have doubts only, you can raise your hand. If you have any answers, you can type it in the chat. Or if you have a doubt also, you can type it in the chat because we cannot hear you. Okay, Skanda has given some answer. Skanda, you have told that you have given some condition. So you are directly implying m equals n. From where m equals n came? Okay, so I think that is not correct. So since some condition is given, directly you cannot imply it. You need to, I want you to show the steps, or otherwise we can tell no. So then we can directly even tell that this problem, since mn divides m square plus n square, directly we can tell m equals n. Not like that. If you're writing some, I think this came in some contest somewhere, Bulgaria or somewhere, a very old contest, I think so. If you write like this, because a condition is given true, so this is automatically true, they won't give anything. That is correct, but the first statement itself is wrong. I mean, you have given that mn divides m plus n, so m equals n. That is itself wrong. You have arrived at that step correctly, but you have not proved it why after that step it should be true. Yeah, okay. So I am telling no. You first you write a detailed proof. I mean, mn divides m plus n is correct, but from that you move to the next step. That is wrong. Okay. After that, there should be 2 more steps minimum. There are many ways to do that. I will go with the GCD LCM way. Okay, I will go for all the 3 problems. I will go with GCD LCM manner only. You can use divisibility. I will use GCD LCM, mostly divisibility a little less. Why is this wrong? How can you imply? See, mn divides m plus n. Okay. That's why I want you to write that step. I want you to write the step. Why, if mn divides m plus n, what happens? I want you to write a detailed step. And I think Nikhil has given an answer. Yes, Nikhil, your answer is correct. So I think Nikhil has given the correct answer. Skanda, your answer is half, but we don't accept half answers. So if you can complete the answer, then you will also be counted as answer completed. Okay, nice. Aryan. Okay, so I think Aryan and Nikhil, 2 people have got the correct answer. Yes, Aryan and Nikhil. And to let you know, actually, Aryan is Nikhil's younger brother, and he is 9 years old, and he has given the correct answer. Congratulations, Aryan. Vechvi, I think your answer is not correct. Check what happens if you get the fraction. Check what happens if you get the fraction 22 over, 22 over n plus 24. What happens? (22 over n plus 24). What will happen? Put nice. So you have given an answer. You do 22 over that and see what happens. Okay, so first of all, are all of you clear with factorials? What are factorials? Okay. Yes. I think all of you are clear with factorials. And also in Nikhil's class, he's going to take a class on combinatorics. He will tell you why this factorial has formed in a combinatorial way. Okay, you are telling some rules you are telling. Your rules are okay, but I want you to show the proper proof. I will not take those rules. I will only go there are a lot of rules like that, but I want you to give the proper answer. Yes, Samya, componendo, dividendo, but I want you to prove it using divisibility. Skanda, I think I lost your answer somewhere. Let me check your answer. Yes, just a minute, let me check. First, okay, so let me see. Just a minute. I think your answer goes wrong when you take the fraction 24 over n plus 26. Check what happens. Tanmay, your answer is correct for first problem. Nikhil gave correct answer for second problem and Tanmay gave correct answer for first problem. So first problem one correct answer, second problem one correct answer. I mean not Nikhil, I think Aryan has given that answer. So Aryan and Tanmay. Not correct, Skanda, your answer is not correct. Krishna, I'm sorry, let me check back to the answers. So, let me check. What happens with Krishna? Can you write your answer fully? You have written half answers here and there. I think your answer is not correct. Okay, so do you think I should start solving problems now, or I think I can give 2 minutes more time for you to think? Skanda, please check your answer again. If you put n equals 0 in the fraction 20 over n plus 22, what will happen? Yeah, and also it is a positive integer. Anyway, even if it is a non-negative integer also, see what will happen. 20 over n plus 22. So please just try to check your answers before you just give answers vaguely. And way 3, you had given an answer which is really close. I think you have made a mistake. I think that you have made the same silly mistake that I made when I first tried this problem. I think you had made a calculation mistake or something. If you had done it in a rigorous method, if you had done it in a guess way, then I don't know. But if you had done it in a rigorous method, it must be a silly mistake. I am talking to Vedshri Patel. She gave an answer. That answer is close to the correct answer. Krishna, how does mn divide m square and n square? Can you give a reason? I want a reason for everything. Krishna, type it in the chat. No, I won't be able to unmute, so you can just type everything in the chat, whatever you have. K plus 1 equal to k factorial. How can you conclude that, Tanmay? See, ik plus 1 equal to k factorial into you have written something for ik plus 1 and something you have written for ik. So how can you conclude that? Okay, so no, Krishna, I don't think your answer is correct. So I think I have to start solving now. Okay, I think I'll start solving. Okay. So we'll start solving problem number 1. The problem number 1 is a nice problem. So we are given such fractions. Okay. So when we are to say that the fraction is irreducible, we are to prove that the greatest common divisor of 19. Just a minute. I'll not take this. I'll take the whiteboard directly because I'm not good at these drawings. Okay, so I think I'll do this, and I think you can see what I'm typing. Okay, I'll start for problem number 1. Okay, so when we are to say that 19 by n plus 21, all these fractions are irreducible, we are to prove that GCD of the so let me write it briefly. When we are to say that a by b is irreducible, it means that we have to show that the greatest common divisor of A and B is 1. So this is what we have to show. Okay. So we will show this now. So now see, I mean, we have to find the value of n such that. Okay. So GCD of, so we want to find the value of n such that GCD of n plus 21 comma 19 is equal to GCD of n plus 22 comma 20 is equal to GCD of n plus 23 comma 21 and so on till GCD of n plus 93 comma 91. And also participants, if you are sending the answer now, I won't be able to look at it because I am typing here and I can't go to the chats now. So the time for problem 1 is over. Don't send your answers for problem number 2 because I am solving problem number 1. And so it's better that you send answers for problem number 2 when I ask you to send the answer for problem number 2. Okay. So like you have all these things all the way up till it must be equal to 1. Also, I think you should have noted a pattern. So see, if you can see, the difference between these two numbers, n plus 21, 19, n plus 22, 20, n plus 23, 21, so on till n plus 93 and 91, their difference is constant, which is nothing but n plus 2. So now, okay, so some kind of a property must be implemented here. What kind of a property? We'll look now. There is one property says that the GCD of A plus B or GCD of A minus B is equal to, I'll show it. GCD of A minus B comma B, okay, is equal to GCD of A comma B. You can try to prove this property. It's a nice one. Okay, you can try to prove this property. So it is a simple property only, not that tough. Okay, it is a simple property. You can prove this easily. Okay. This is a property. I have not mentioned it there. I did not mention it on purpose. Nothing that I forgot to mention this. I had not mentioned this property on purpose because I want you to prove that property. Like I just give a property and you just use it. In examinations, in competitive examinations like the RMO or INMO, mostly if some kind of GCD LCM questions are being asked, you will have to prove some property and use that property. So on that basis only I have framed this question. I have not framed it, but I have not given this property. Okay, so you have to prove this. This is your work. I'm not going to prove this. So you can assume that so let GCD of A comma B equal to K, A equal to A1K and B equal to B1K, and you do some manipulations and finally you will get the answer. Okay. So now we have this property. So it means that GCD of n plus 21 and 19 by our property is nothing but GCD of n plus 2 and 19. Okay, then again GCD of n plus 22 and 20 is nothing but, what is this? GCD of n plus 2 and 20. Similarly, when we are going on, GCD of n plus 93 and 91 must be equal to GCD of what? N plus 2 and 91. N plus 2 and 91, correct. This must be equal to 1. All of these, these GCDs, they must be equal to 1. What does this mean? So let's assume that n plus 2 equal to m, okay, for variables. So then we can see that you want to find numbers that GCD of m comma 19 is equal to GCD of m comma 20 and so on. GCD of m comma 91 is equal to 1. Now this means that we need to find the least prime number greater than 91. Why is that? Okay, you can think why is that, but for now I'll give the answer. See, if there is any prime number which is between 19 and 91, that prime number will come in this 19 to 91. So if m is any number between 19 to 91, automatically GCD of that number will get repeated, so that will not be 1. That is first case. Second thing is, what if there are prime numbers smaller than 19? What are the prime numbers? 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 17. Now for 2, okay, you have 20. This will not be 1, 2 and 20. For 3, you have 30. For 5 you have 50. For 7 you have 70. For 11 you have 22. And for 13 you have 26. 17 you have 34. So if you are pairing these numbers in this list itself, you will get the list from 19 to 91. In that particular list itself, what will happen? You will get the pair is not going to be, the GCD won't be 1. So we must see primes bigger than 91. You get it? Okay, so we need to look at primes which are bigger than 91. So you want to find the least prime which satisfies all that. So then what happens? You find that the least prime is equal to 97. So when you look at 97, so what does it mean? M must be equal to 97. This is what I think that Vedshri Patel, if she's there, she must have put just 97 as the answer. So Tanmay had given the correct answer. So what he did was I think he resubstituted m as n plus 2. We want to find n, not m, is equal to 97. So that directly means that n is equal to 95. So answer for first problem is 95. Okay. Okay. First problem is done. Just a minute. Okay. First problem is done. Okay. I'll move on to the second problem now. Nikhil, I think it is not 97, it is 95. Krishna, I think, I'm sorry, Krishna, I'm not able to make the font size bigger. Actually, do you all prefer me for going to the whiteboard itself? Should I go to the whiteboard where the font will be twice of this font? Okay, okay, I think I'll move on for, yes. But I hope that you're clear with this. I think all of you must be clear because, yes. I will stop this share. For now, I am stopping this share and I will come back for the third problem. Okay. Share the whiteboard. Okay. Yes. So, I think I can take the text now. Now is it visible more? It's more visible, right? Okay, so we'll continue. Yeah. So second problem, just a minute. Just a minute. Yes. So second problem says that mn divides n square plus n square. I don't have LaTeX here, so it will come like this only. So please this. So I will use a GCD LCM way of proving this. What I will do is see what I will do now. I will first assume that GCD of m comma n is equal to k. So it means that m equal to m1k. Okay, m subscript 1 and n equal to n1k. Similarly, subscript 1 only. So then it means that the problem will reduce to m1n1 divides m1 square plus n1 square. Now m1n1 must divide m1 square plus n1 square. This means that m1n1 divides m1 square plus n1 square. If m1n1 itself is dividing, the product of two numbers is dividing this. So it means that m1 must divide, no? m1 square plus n1 square. Okay, the product must divide. So then it means that m1, we know that m1 divides m1 square, so m1 divides n1 square. So since we got m1 divides n1 square. So what happened? I think somebody had given directly m divides. See, he told that m divides n square. Since m divides n square, it means that m divides n. But that is not correct. Why? Because see, if you take m is 9 and n is 6, what happens? Assumption gone. So that is why I am using GCD LCM. So there is some reason why I am using this method. So m1 divides n1 square. So since m1 and n1 share no common factor between them, m1 and n1 square will imply that m1 divides n1. Okay. Then similarly, you will get n1 divides m1 square. You can try that how I got this. Then you will get n1 divides m1, and we can use our nice property of divisibility. We have m1 divides n1 and n1 divides m1. This is true. So what will happen? Then I will put See, then if this is happening, then I can just put m equal to n directly. And also some of you can note that m1 and n1 must be 1, because when two co-prime numbers divide each other, then one of them, the divisor must be 1. But since it's also the other way around and equality is holding, both of them must be 1. So m equal to n equal to k, to be more brief. Okay. So answer for second problem, this is Samyak m1 divides m square plus n square. So see, many of you got mn divides m plus n, but after that step you are not able to prove it. Okay, I want you to prove after that step. Okay, there is another way. Mn divides m square plus n square. It implies that mn divides m plus n. I want you to find out how. Okay, so you will get that kind of a way. Wait just a minute. Let me. No. Sorry. That is not correct. That's not correct. Okay, third problem. Samyak has given some answer. I n plus 1. Samyak, your answer is not fully correct. We will do the proper answer. We will do the fully correct answer. I think we can do that. So I will use Bézard's identity for this problem. So see, we are given that so GCD of I wantedly confuse you guys by putting number like ik and ik plus 1. So you just substitute them back, obviously. N factorial plus 1 and n plus 1 factorial plus 1. Oh, there's no ik plus 1 here. Okay, so now what I can say? Can I say that n plus 1 factorial plus 1 minus n plus 1. Just a minute. Let me see. N plus 1 factorial plus 1 minus n plus 1 times. Sorry, not this way, not this way. Just a minute. Can I say that this just look at this? N plus 1 times n factorial plus 1 minus 1 times n plus yes, n plus 1 factorial plus 1 equals n. Can I say this or not? It's a simple identity only. So this term will become n plus 1 factorial plus n plus 1 minus n plus 1 factorial minus 1. So n plus 1 factorial cancel. N plus 1 minus 1 is what remains. So that is nothing but n. Now, okay, and also I will take a consequence of the Bézard's identity. So if GCD of A comma B divides n, I want you to show that there exist positive integers x and y, so that ax plus by equal to n. This is a nice property. It's very easy. So I will not prove this one. I want you to prove it by using the by knowing the Bézard identity exists. Okay. I want you guys to, you can take this down in your notebook. It's an important property. If GCD of A comma B divides n, then there exists integers a and b such that ax plus, positive integers x and y, integers x and y such that ax plus by equal to n. You can take this down in your notebook. It's a very helpful property. Okay, I want you to prove this property also. If you have answers, you can post it in Google Classroom or you can send it to my mail, which is given in the Google Classroom. Okay. So I will use this property now. Okay, so see, now we want to prove that. So we are to prove that this GCD of this and this is equal to what? 1. Correct. And we also know that. Okay, we know this. So this will mean that GCD of, and also we know that GCD of n plus 1 and 1 is 1. So by Bézard's identity, this identity, GCD of n factorial plus 1 and n plus 1 factorial plus 1 divides n. So what does this mean? If it divides n, So it's either going to be so this is there. So if this divides n, then it will mean that GCD of 1 minute, let me check just a minute. I think there's a small calculation flaw here, just a minute. Let me check. Oh, yes. Just a minute. Okay. I'm back. I found the error. We'll use the same property. I think there was some small error there. Okay. So we have this. So let D be this GCD. Now we'll put this. Okay. And we know that D divides N. And also we know that D divides N factorial plus 1. Just a minute. No, not this. Yes. We know that D divides N factorial plus 1. Okay. D divides N and D divides N factorial plus 1. So it means that D divides, okay, and one more property I'm going to include here. Okay. If D divides A and D divides B, then I want you to prove that D divides GCD of A comma B. This is a nice one. It's a nice property. If D divides A and D divides B, then I want you to prove that D divides GCD of A comma B. Okay, does anybody have a proof? Any proof? Yes, Tanmay. I think I can unmute you. Tanmay. Yes.
Yes. If D divides A and D divides B, then D divides let M and N be co-prime such that A is equal to GCD of A and B multiplied by M, and B be GCD of A and D multiplied by N. So as M and N are co-prime, so if D divides M or N, then GCD of A and B. Just a minute. Yes, if D divides M or N, then D cannot divide the. If D divides M, then it cannot
Can
divide
you
N.
wait? I think you have gone wrong somewhere.
Okay.
Your assumption something is wrong in your assumption. I think so.
Okay, I'll check that.
Yes. Okay, I think you can put it on yes. Some answer by Samyak. A equal to DKM B. Wait, just a minute. So, okay, so Samyak has given answer. Yes, Samyak, your answer is correct. But I will not go there like that. So, I think you can prove this property. Okay. Yes, Krishna, I unmute you. You have got the answer.
The answer is quite simple, as we know that your D divides A and your D divides B, then we can say that your D is a factor of A and B. So if D is any factor, but if it is at the greatest, then it would be GCD of A and B. So
Correct.
our first case is proved, and so that's all. You can say that.
No, I think you have not proved it properly. You should have gone this way. Yeah, okay, you can put it on mute. Yes. So what Krishna told, Krishna, your answer is 3/4, correct? That 1/4 part you just left it half. Okay. Tanmay is.
Okay.
Yes.
So if D divides A and D divides B, then D can be GCD of A and B, but D cannot be greater than its GCD, or if D is not a multiple of its GCD, then it will not divide both A and B.
Correct, done. Proof is complete.
Yes.
So
Yes.
Tanmay did 1/4 and Krishna did 3/4. Okay, so actually, I think no one got the correct answer because half of, 3/4 of the answer was given by somebody and the remaining 1/4 was answered by somebody. So actually, actually both of you, no one got the correct answer, but no, fine, we can give marks, for both of you. So I think we can take it as both of you got the correct answer. Okay, so I think this is okay for with you. Now, so now we'll use the same property now. I'll take these out. Now we know D divides N and D divides N factorial plus 1. Okay, I hope you have no doubt in that why D divides N factorial plus 1. If D divides N and D divides N factorial, it means that D divides N, GCD of N comma N factorial plus 1. What is N, GCD of N comma N factorial plus 1? It is going to be what? 1. Why is that 1? It is easy. Can someone say why this is 1? GCD of N and N factorial plus 1? Yes, Kanda, I am unmuting you. I'm sorry if it goes a little late, but it will end in 1 or 2 minutes. Yes, Kanda, your answer.
Yeah. So up to N factorial is divisible by N. Because
Skanda, can you put your headphone? Can you keep the mic a little closer to your mouth because we can't hear you?
Right now.
Hello.
Yes.
I cannot hear you clearly. You are audible, but I think there is some problem with your microphone.
Okay.
Can you take off your microphone?
I'll just try to be a bit louder.
Okay, yes, you can write it in the chat. Okay. Okay, so this is simple. I think I don't have to do this one. This is easy. I think Skanda has written it. Correct. So you know that we know that GCD of N and N factorial is equal to N. Okay. And so you see N divides N factorial. So obviously GCD of N and N factorial plus 1 will be 1. Okay. So this means that D divides 1. And what does it mean when D divides 1? D is equal to 1. So now we know that D is equal to 1. So if D is equal to 1, then this GCD is what we assumed as D. That is nothing but 1. So our answer is, for third problem is also proved that GCD of IN and IN plus 1 is equal to 1. Okay, so I think we can end up this. I'll stop the share. Okay. Okay, so thank you for coming, and thanks a lot for staying back for about, I think, 3 or 4 minutes. It took a few minutes extra because of the problem, and there was some calculation error in the end of the problem. Sorry for that. And I hope you enjoyed this class. See you tomorrow at 3:30 to 4:30. Okay, I think I can stop recording. Okay.